So it's been a week later and I mostly got my voice back. Don't understand why I lost it. I wasn't sick or anything like that. Everything was good, but I just lost my voice and I could not talk at all. Barely a whisper. But it's good to have my voice back, feeling a lot better. And now we can actually dive into this motherboard. So we were in Wilmington, North Carolina, and we've been going there a lot. And every now and then I pick up a couple of good parts, but that for $25 could be a good deal. X99, folks, hear me out. X99 still holds up pretty well, performs pretty decent, and I'm still able to flip a couple of X99 PCs. But as the ad listing stated, I think it doesn't work or it doesn't post. Not exactly sure. So when I talked to the guy, I tried to get more information about it, and he said that it was a system, it sat for a while, it worked, and then it just stopped posting. So he wasn't sure. He said he did try swapping things back and forth. Could it be a bad board? Could it be a bad CPU? Could it be that he just didn't reset the BIOS? I don't know. He wanted 60, I offered 20. So for $20, it could be a gamble. Unfortunately, I don't have another X99 board right now. So we can rule out whether it was the motherboard or CPU, but we might get lucky. It might be something very simple as just resetting the BIOS and everything works. And if that's the case, I have tons of extra spare parts lying around that we could put a computer together, make a couple of dollars. So let's go ahead and let's dive in and let's take a look exactly what we got and hopefully figure out what's wrong. Who knows? It might actually work. So I already got the stuff mostly set up. Well, the stuff that I'm gonna use. I haven't set it up yet. But here's the board. So Gigabyte X99, which one is it? Oh, there it is. Gigabyte GA X99 SLI. Ah, the good times, the good times. And for the CPU, it is the Intel Core i7-5820K. Not a bad CPU. Now, unfortunately, he didn't have the rear IO plate. Well, then again, I couldn't ask him because I really couldn't talk a lot and I was whispering. So yeah, didn't want to kind of wear myself out with that. But it's okay. So now we need to come up with a plan of attack. So we're gonna be using EVGA Supernova 1000 watt power supply. One I got in a used parts pickup. It's fantastic, it gets the job done. So let's go ahead and start plugging this thing in. Come on, there you go. All right, so we got that. Now for the heatsink, I really would hate to set this thing up and then it doesn't work, but I do have this one. It's a Noctua. What flavor it is, couldn't tell you. I did drop it, you know, but it works. And typically when you drop a heatsink, there's a good chance that it might not work because if you like bend or kink those heat pipes, yeah, pretty much a done deal. But my plan is just pop it on there loosely just to see if we get a post. We're not gonna run it long. All right, good enough. And that's just my thought for now. But I am gonna put the fan back on just to give it a little extra, you know, safety. Oh, I did mark it, see? Good for me, X99. And we are gonna plug this in somewhere. CPU fan, oh look, right there, okay. All right, Mr. Fan. I just need you to hang out right there. So what we're gonna do is gonna be a quick test, and if it posts and it works, then we'll do thermal paste, we'll mount it, all that type of good stuff, and get it ready for a build. Now for memory. I got a bunch over here. DDR4 that is, not the DDR5. If all this was DDR5, I could probably retire. Never have to do a video again, work, do anything like that. Probably not, but still. Let's see, let's go ahead and just pop in one stick. And I do know this memory works because I've tested all this memory. Now there is like a button over here, it says CPU mode 1 and 2. I mean, there might be provisions for this thing to be not working. Who knows? It has a Molex right over here, okay. I think that's for the SLI, if I learned from the last one I worked on. Now for our graphics card, my favorite, the trusted, the favorite, the GT 1030. And you might be saying, why is this your favorite graphics card? Because it works. And when you're testing computers, a graphics card like this with like no supplemental power, anything like that, is amazing. That's all you need. All right, so we got power there, power there. This is right over here. This ain't gonna move. Reset the CMOS. And I picked up another one. This will be like number 10. I love these keyboards. They work great, but I have a real bad habit of leaving the USB on a computer that I sell. And of course, you know, the seller, they never reach back out. Maybe they assume it's Wi-Fi. I don't know. But yeah. They just never reach out. Okay. So far we're looking good. We do need HDMI. Yep, right over here. Maybe this way. Okay, that's plugged in. It's good. And now which one is the power? Which is gonna be the red. Here goes nothing. Will we get a post? So it turned off, it turned back on. As long as it doesn't keep doing that over and over, we could be okay. Yes! Yes, yes, yes. Okay, I know I'm excited, and I'm putting the horse before the cart or counting the chickens before they hatch, but this is good. The guy said it had no post. What I determined that to mean, because I've had people say it has no post, well, that can mean it doesn't boot to Windows, it doesn't post to the BIOS, so we're doing okay. All right. Ooh, temperature is 64 degrees Celsius. All right, so let's go ahead, let's turn this thing off. Let's mount this cooler, pop in a storage drive, and see if we could get this thing to install Windows and run. So this is exciting. I mean, it still could have random issues and glitches and all that type of stuff, but we do need to mount a cooler so we can test it a lot longer, not cause any unnecessary damages. So I had to do some research off camera because I could not figure out how to mount this thing. And I found a video and now it's mounted correctly. So yeah, this does unscrew, but for some reason, I guess I couldn't figure it out. I don't know, but either way, it works. We're gonna have to go with this direction. Not ideal, just I guess depending on the case we use. But if I go the other direction, then I won't be able to populate these RAM slots. And I'll probably go two here, two here. I'll have to see. I'm not sure if this motherboard supports ECC memory. It might not. Folks, I'm not an expert. I don't know everything. I do research just like everybody else. So we'll see. But we're just gonna use this one, which is, I think this is a 16 gig stick. And I'll have to look up the configuration. I think there's like some fancy order to make this work in the right channels. If you don't populate 04, like I said, homework. There you go. All right, got that. Now we do need a storage. What do we got? What do we got? This is 1 terabyte, which is gonna be definitely overkill for this. 512. So let's unscrew this. Pop this in just like so. Come on, little buddy. There you go. All right, storage, memory, cooler mounted. Let's pop in our HDMI. Good, good, good. Get our tools out of the way. Don't want no accidents with me. That would not be good. Just like that. You know, things go flying. Well, maybe I do need my tool. So now that we got all that squared away, flick the switch. Now we need to find a USB. Not sure which one I'm gonna use, if I'm being honest. So we can install our operating system. All right, power. Now we did change the memory, so that might be a thing. All right, it cycled off. Cycled back on, just like it did before. I'm feeling good, feeling good. Come on. Yes, golden. All right, so we're in our BIOS. Not familiar with this. Well, at least this type of BIOS. All right, let's go to easy mode. I like that better. CPU temp, 36 degrees, perfect. Now we're only picking up one stick of memory. Could it be it's not supposed to be in that slot? I'm not sure. I'll have to look it up. Maybe that's why it's not picking it up. CPU, i7-5820K, cool. It does see our M.2. I'm liking this, I'm liking this. All right, I'm gonna shut her down and let's figure out where that memory goes. All right, so did some homework off camera. This needs to go over here, according to what I read on the interweb. And as far as the ECC, just doing some research on it, it will only work with ECC memory if you're using a Xeon. Now I do have a bunch of Xeons lying around, and I might consider that option, but if you use an i7, it doesn't support it. So I'm gonna have to do some homework on that and kind of weigh it out. I have, like I said, I have a bunch of ECC memory. As you can see, a bunch right up over here. And I also have a bunch in another container I have. And although the i7 might be a better performance, I'll have to see if it's negligible compared to any of these. Let me know in the comments which one you think might be the better option for it. Then, as far as just use case, I might go Xeon just to use that memory. Realistically, that memory is just gonna end up sitting there because I typically don't run Xeons, but we'll see. But either way, let's fire this back up. Let's make sure our memory works. Yep, F12 boot menu. Let's go to the boot menu. I think I already set it to boot, but just in case. Oop, what's it doing? Oh boy. There we go. Get nervous. Nope, nope. There we go. Come on. All right, that's a good start. That's a good start. All right, we're making progress. So yes, if you haven't figured it out, we're installing Windows 11, the Pro version. And I know you're saying, but it doesn't support it. Linux is better, older hardware. Yes, I get it. But for practicality's sake and the fact that this is more commonly used, and this is possibly going to be a flip, not sure yet. We'll see. Windows 11 is kind of the way to go for now. I'm gonna let this install Windows. We're gonna run the updates. We're gonna run a stress test on the system. And when we come back, either everything is working great or we run into issues. So let's hope for the best. Well, I paid $20 for a Gigabyte X99 motherboard, i7-5820 CPU, K version, not sure, can't remember. And the guy deemed it as it doesn't work. He said no post, it randomly stopped working, could not figure it out. He tried everything, and well, it runs great. That's right, folks. It is stable, it is running fantastic. I have run OCCT several rounds, AIDA 64 several rounds, and this thing has been solid. Awesome. And although it's an older platform and, you know, not one that people are probably going to use because it doesn't have the Windows 11 support and all that type of stuff, it's a great deal for $20 and still a great platform. Our temperatures, 60 degrees Celsius, same thing when running AIDA 64, 100% beans on it. The memory has been stable, which, well, I knew the memory was working because I had no issues with it. The GT 1030 doing what the GT 1030 does best, giving me a display. Multiple rounds, no errors detected. Folks, we got a great deal and we definitely lucked out on this. So let's go ahead, let's wrap this thing up and let's give you my thoughts. And for those who are asking, is there a busted pipe in your house? What is going on? What is all the noise? Folks, it is raining. It is pouring. And unfortunately, not much I can do about the noise, but I kind of enjoy it. It makes it more natural, a real feel. Very pleasant and soothing. So yes, I actually enjoy the rain, as long as I'm not getting rained on. But anyways, so for $20, scored pretty good. Now looking on the internet, X99, what they're going for if you're gonna buy a motherboard and a CPU, you're looking anywhere between $100 to $200. A lot of it depends on the motherboard that you're getting. If you're getting one of the higher end, fancier flavors, obviously you're gonna spend a lot more money for that. And then depending on the CPU, I think there is a higher end i7 59, maybe 6. I can't remember. I know there is another beefier CPU for it. So kind of keep that in mind. But considering the CPU, the motherboard that we got, $20, this probably sells for about $120 to $150 on the low end. Still pretty decent. Now, I'm not saying take a gamble and go out and buy every broken motherboard, CPU, graphics cards that you can find. No, folks. Hear me out on this. Number one, knowledge is power. You gotta know what you're doing, how to diagnose it, but also be willing to kind of accept the fact that it probably legitimately is broken. Now, there is another reason why I snagged this up. Check this out. So I got on the guy's Facebook, marketplace profile and started seeing some of the other things that he was selling. I did reach out to him. Again, he didn't want to respond back to me. He probably thought that I was trying to ask for my money back. And I saw that he was selling a power supply. Power supply, this is key. Now hear me out, folks. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with this power supply because I've used them before, but kind of use it as a clue. He was selling an Apevia 450 or 550 watt power supply for $5. $5. And on the listing, he says, not sure if the power supply works or not. That's one of the things that kind of made me more interested in this. Certain power supplies will do their job and definitely keep you from frying your motherboard, CPU. I'm not sure if that power supply would do it, but then other power supplies, they're so cheap that they will fry the motherboard and CPU. Now, my experience with that Apevia power supply, I'll try to see if I find the picture for the ad because I actually can't find the guy's profile. He might have blocked me, I don't know. I did message him saying, hey, a couple of questions about this. Who knows? But either way, I actually had one Apevia power supply that the power supply kicked the bucket, but it did what it was supposed to do, and it kept juice from going into the motherboard and CPU, and the motherboard and CPU was still good. Power supply was no good, but the motherboard was still good. So because he was selling that dirt cheap for that reason, that made me feel more confident in taking a gamble with that. Those are the things tips and tricks that I do when I'm on the Facebook marketplace. Your mental diagnosis of what you think it might be versus what they thought it might be. And I've actually done pretty well just kind of going down that path and getting good deals on it, or taking gambles with parts that, were deemed not working. That was my logic as far as this. I could be wrong. He said it post and then it stopped posting, but I've had that happen too. A bad power supply will power it up, and then next thing you know, you get no screen. And then you swap out the power supply and everything comes back to life. I think that's the case that happened with this. And that's kind of the best advice that I can give. If you're looking for used broken parts, kind of try to diagnose it with the information you have. Do some research on the components and ask as much questions as you can with the seller. Now, the other thing too is you start asking too many questions to the seller might say, oh yeah, maybe I didn't try this. They go back, they try it, it works, and then, well, you're out the deal. Which is good for them. I mean, you help them, free diagnosis, but then it's bad for you because you lost out on a great deal. So, I don't know. It's up to you how you decide to handle that. I'm one of those that I'll ask 100 questions. If I end up helping them fix it and they decide not to sell it, hey, that's awesome too. So, X99, I love this platform. It's still great in 2026. I do have some dedicated videos on that if you definitely want to check it out. For $20, I think this was a great deal. And as far as what I'm gonna be doing with it, as far as which way to go with the Xeon ECC, I'm not sure. But with all that being said, comment down below, let me know your thoughts, concerns, criticisms. Is the Xeon the way to go? Should I go the ECC or should I leave it as is? Was $20 a good deal for this? And do you take gambles with used broken hardware? If you like this video, definitely hit the like button, subscribe if you're not, and as always, we'll see what we come up with next.